Thank you so much for joining us today for our Black Business Bootcamp, sponsored by the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, our Supporting Our Success program, graciously underwritten by Comerica Bank and supported by Vice Mayor Pro Tem Martha Castex Tatum, City Council Member, District K. Today, we want you all to make sure that you have pen, paper, iPad, notepad to take copious notes today, because our purpose here today is to make sure that you grow and sustain yourself as a business. That is what the SOS program is all about. Supporting our success is about making sure that our members have what they need to hire the next workforce, to improve operations, customer service, just about anything that has to do with growing and expanding your business. We're looking for you to be the ones to hire future people and to grow our workforce and our economy in this area. The SOS program has four major components. The first one is capital resources, where we will provide funding, much needed funding for our businesses in their times of need. We also have an e-learning database that will be coming online, where you as a member can jump on anytime and learn whatever you need to learn about improving your business. The next component is our cohort that we are so very proud of. That will be coming online soon, and you'll learn more about that, which will give you the opportunity to network and have other ways to grow and expand your business. And lastly, financial literacy, which is what we are, which is what Comerica is in partnership with the chamber on for today. And it's not only for business owners, but the SOS program is for consumers also. So we thank you for joining us today. This is our attempt as a Black chamber to give our community what we need to make sure that we are set for the future. And with that, I would like to introduce our Vice Mayor Pro Tem, Martha Castex Tatum, to give us a few words.
So good morning. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate being here today. I will tell you the partnership that you have brought together with Comerica, the Greater Houston Black Chamber, the SOS program, with Kyra Hardwick, with the City of Houston is phenomenal, because we are all rowing in the same direction. We want to see these business owners be successful. So today I want to let you know that the City of Houston is on your side. We are advocating for your success. We are making sure that the resources that you need are available to you. And I will tell you, one of the most difficult problems that we need to overcome is making sure that the information that we have gets down to the lowest common denominator. And so I need your help, because I say this all the time: engagement is a two-way street. As the chair of the Economic Development Committee, we send out over 4,000 emails about what we will talk about each month. And the highest level of response rate that we typically receive is about 20%. So that means many people aren't reading the emails, they don't see the emails, but I want you to be intentional about being engaged, and knowing that you have champions in City Council, on City Council, to make sure your businesses are successful. If you are not receiving the emails for our Economic Development Committee meetings, please email my office so we can add you to that distribution list. And that email is districtk@houstontx.gov. And just put in the subject, you want to be added to our Economic Development Committee meeting. And we will get you on our distribution list, because I want you to know about the programs that are happening in the city. If you aren't reading and following the Office of Business Opportunity, you should, because the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity has a number of important workshops and resources that can help take your businesses to the next level. And that's exactly what we want to do. If you are looking to reach out to us, I try to be as accessible as I can. Many of you have my contact information. our office is as accessible as they can. We are there every day. Even through COVID, we've been there. We want to make sure that we are being responsive to our business owners. We want to partner with you. If you have opportunities for districts like District K or in the entire city of Houston, let us know. That's what we are here for. We want to help you advance your businesses. Carol, if it's okay, I'm willing to take questions in the chat. Or if y'all want to send me questions, I'm happy to respond, and you can send it out to the entire group. But I just want to make sure that the business owners know that they have an advocate on City Council, in our Economic Development Committee meetings. Never in the history of Houston City Council have we had this many African Americans serving on the council simultaneously. And so our policies reflect that we want businesses to improve. We are working towards better policies to make sure that our contracting is inclusive of minority and small businesses. So if you have ideas about how we can make it better, we want to hear from you. You have a voice, and your voice is the most important voice. And you can share those ideas with us. We can work through it. And we have a process to change policies and make them better and more inclusive for all of our business owners. So I'm looking forward to the amazing program that I know you have today with Ms. Kyra Hardwick. I've heard her presentations before, and I always leave with some extra nuggets to just take my business and the work that I'm doing and how I'm working with my son for his future business. And we keep them, and we log them, and we journal them, and we use them in our everyday engagement with other people. So thank you for having me today. I look forward to engaging with all of these business owners. I see your names on the screen, and I'm like, hey, feel free to reach out to us. Brandon, thank you and Comerica. City government can't do these things alone. Our chambers can't do these things alone. So private partnerships are critical to making sure our communities continue to thrive. So thank you to Comerica, and we look forward to doing more ventures with organizations like Comerica in the future. Ms. Kyra Hardwick, I wish you the best on your presentation today. Leave it all on the screen today.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Council Member Castex Tatum, our Vice Mayor Pro Tem, Houston City Council District K. We appreciate your support of the chamber and our members. You're always available to assist us, to, let us know what's going on at City Hall as far as economic development, and we share that information with our members. So thank you for being so open and being with us today. We appreciate it.
All right, make it a great.
We'll have Q&A at the end. So anyone who has a question for Vice Mayor Pro Tem, please do place it in the chat, and we'll make sure that she gets it.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So next we will have an introduction and a welcome from Mr. Brandon Q. Jones from Comerica Bank. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Carolyn. Thank you so much. My name is Brandon Q. Jones, and I serve as the External Affairs Manager for Texas for Comerica. And I am super excited to be working with the Greater Houston Black Chamber on our small business boot camp. This is an initiative that we rolled out at the height of COVID. We were seeing a lot of things going on with small businesses, specifically in Black communities, right? We were seeing that businesses were not receiving support. We were noticing that businesses were not getting the information that they needed. And we were also noticing that people were wanting to start businesses. I don't know, COVID was like, they had some type of an epiphany and said, hey, I want to start a business. And so we said, okay, and we heard the community and we said, you know what, let's start engaging with our partners coast to coast to present these boot camps. And we're proud to report that we ran over 100 and I believe 22 boot camps last year and touched about 1,200 or so individuals across the nation. And so we put these on across Texas, down in Austin, in Dallas, where I am with the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. But this one I am very proud of because I am a native Houstonian, a graduate of Texas Southern. And so I am proud to bring this boot camp to Houston. And so thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Kpis Tatum, for your support. We love working with city government. We love working in conjunction with folks all around. I'm not a silo guy. I love to make sure that everybody's doing their part to make sure that the community is uplifted. Kyra, I am very much so looking forward to your presentation today. I heard that they are biased, so I know that the participants are going to get a lot of knowledge and out of your presentation today. So thank you so much for presenting. And so without further ado, Carol, take it away.
Well, thank you, Brandon. And Comerica has been a sponsor and a supporter of the Greater Houston Black Chamber for many years. And we thank you for sticking by us. You know, these have been some really troubling times, and we appreciate your willingness to partner with us to bring this type of information to our members. I mean, this is why we exist. And it's great to know that our banking community and that Comerica in particular care enough about our health to put on this Black Business Boot Camp. And so, following your lead, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Ms. Kyra Hardwick. I'll tell you all a little bit about Kyra. She has highly developed strategic and analytical skills, and I have experienced those things for myself. With the ability to train and implement on multiple levels, Kyra has established the ability to identify opportunities for profit protection, as well as the opportunity to increase efficiency within the infrastructure of an organization, leveraging people, processes, and profitability. Kyra has an MBA with a concentration in human resources, and she's also a proven nonprofit leader. So Kyra, we look forward to hearing your presentation today, and I think the 3 Ps are going to be central to what you're discussing today. So let's jump right in.
Well, good afternoon or good morning still, everyone. It is my pleasure. You know how I feel about you. As I call you respectfully, Madam President and Vice Mayor Pro Tem Kpis Tatum and Brandon. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. To everyone that is on with us today, let me just say this. First of all, COVID has taught many lessons, and then not only that, the ability to actually be agile enough to know that you can get in a room that will serve you is one of the most brilliant steps you can take. And so one of the lessons that I know we've learned in leadership, and that's what we're going to talk about today. This is boot camp, so we are going to get into it. And if this is our first time connecting virtually, or if you've been in a live setting where myself or my team, the Kyra company, has been, I want you to know we're so passionate about what we do. It is an intentional flow that we lead with. And our goal is to make sure that absolutely every business we have the ability to impact has the ability and the skill set and the tools and access to grow. And that is our purpose and our intention. We are here for the business development of it all. So I'm going to get into it. Today, we're really going to be talking about leadership. We're going to dig into what it means to do that and to resurge in that. And so I'm really going to speak from the idea of what it means to, first of all, let me explain what resurgence actually is. So a surge, think about like a power surge, or, if you have a moment where the power's gone out and then everything comes back on. Sometimes there's a sound or a jolt, or all of your equipment pops back up, and that is a jolt. That means there was a period of dormancy where nothing was actually powered to that unit, and all of a sudden everything illuminates. And so we've experienced variations of that, over the last year and a half, maybe the last 2 years. And let me say that as we move forward, as business leaders, our responsibility is to, number one, take note of what we've experienced. Understand, and I'm going to get into it, and don't worry, these slides you can take pictures of, and I definitely encourage you to go back to the recording to get this in the event that you missed some things. But really take note of what you've learned. Be open and flexible enough to adjust, because the times have changed, right? How we do business has changed. How we think about business has changed. How we feel about ourselves, what we're doing with our lives has changed. We've gone through the most rapid intellectual,
kind of emergence in terms of where am I in life? Why does this matter? What do the people around me mean to me? Am I responsive? Am I connected? All those questions, if you've not asked at least one of them, I'd love to have a sidebar with you to understand your why. But I will tell you, I know I've had to face all of those as a business leader. And we're going to talk about really being a business leader thoughtful enough to know that there's a leadership acumen you need to reset, probably restart, regain, or maybe just simply improve. And so we're going to talk about that. And I'm excited to share this with you all. So let's talk about, the impacts of effective leadership. I'm going to talk about what it means to be effective as a leader. And I'll share some anecdotal stories as we go. But I will tell you, one of the most important things that I know I learned is that if I'm going to be a leader, I've got to be willing to grow. And I've got to be willing to grow in the most uncomfortable places. I've got to be willing to grow as a business leader in front of my peers, in front of my team, in front of my family, right? That means I'm going to have some failures. I'm going to have some challenges. I'm going to be responsible for getting back up, jumping back in, and being in a place where I'm consistently considering, how can I grow? And the reason why that's important is because at the end of the day, how I respond impacts the bottom line of my business. I don't care how we look at this, and I'm going to break the P's down for you all. And I pray that they become staples in your mind, that you're thinking about it anytime you're inside your business. They're completely applicable across your life. But in this instance, the impacts, right, of being an effective leader is consistent and personal growth. That is a choice you get to make. What you get out, right? What you put in. One of the best lessons that my mother ever shared with me, you get out what you put in. You put a book in, the content's coming out. You put the garbage in, the garbage is coming out. You put the strategy in, the strategy is going to come out. And so that is just the way that this thing works. If you process it mentally, intellectually, you digest it, you read it, you sit in a room, you gather it, you share, you collaborate, all of those assets are going to come out in your business in one way or another. And I want us to always remember that. And so if we found ourselves, like I said, in a dormant space where we weren't doing much, we were maybe more reactive than we were in terms of being in front of our business. Being reactive is exhausting, right? I know I probably spent the first couple months of COVID being reactive, watching my clients fall off our roster, watching our clients, kind of just become more and more afraid of what the market was going to do, and realizing we needed to pivot. So that ability to be, pretty swift in the growth space was important. Let me go back to the staples that made sense for me, which were the books that I read. What am I going to constantly put in my mind so that I understand that the way that the economy or the nation is going is not necessarily 100% how I'm going to go. Let me think about what the path is for me. Let me be smart enough to create a strategy on the spot, or go back to the strategy that I've created that maybe I got off track. What is it that I need to do? So I knew I needed to create something. I needed to go back to the things that I had already put into my head, into my business, and start from there. So that is number one. Be consistent in your personal growth. Be open and willing to do that work. Number two, influencing the market. Do you understand how important and how powerful it is when you have the ability to influence the market? And I'm giving you 3 points here. Thought leadership. If you are an expert in an area, identifying your area of expertise and sharing that knowledge out is one of the most powerful ways you can establish your leadership in the market. That is important. If you are the expert on it, if you know it like nobody's business, and I say this all the time, I don't know that anyone can beat me in creating a strategy. That I'm masterful at strategic planning, right? I'm going to talk about that consistently, because that will elevate my, number one, your SEO, right? Is going to bump up because I've got more hits out there with hashtags that make sense, that will take you right back to my area of excellence, which is strategic planning. But it's also going to let the market know that I am a visible leader. You can trust my information. Those are ways that you can actually build your pipeline. Remember, I said this all goes back to your bottom line. So I want you to take the nuggets in. So this is another step on the rung of this ladder. Increasing your attraction. The more visible you are, the more attractive you are, the more people want to connect with you. right? The more they listen and hear your voice and hear your name, the more you show up, leader, ready, present it well, not falling into the slumps of this, virtual world where you halfway pull yourself together, right? We are all guilty of that. Pull yourself all the way together, show up right, right? So now as the world starts to open up, leaders, we're running these companies. We've stepped out on these skinny branches and took the risk, right? We're putting our name on the line for the funding that we're requesting. We're doing those things as leaders. Make yourself more attractive by increasing that visibility. That is for you to do. That's building your pipeline without having to really spend a dime other than your time, which is money, but you're spending your time consistently putting yourself out there. And that really does increase your access, right? This is an example, thought leadership. I'm a thought leader around certain areas in business. So this is an opportunity for me to present. That increases my attraction to my ideal client and my access to you. That is the process. Consistently put yourself there, but you've got to be in a place of continual growth to do that. And literally the third piece, this is the other impact, the biggest impact, right? Hits the bottom line. When you are in a space of growth, you understand your messaging, how you're communicating with your customer, giving that thought leadership in the market, being present, you literally have the ability to optimize those opportunities when they come. Max out. That's what I typically say inside my company. Let's max out on this because we know where it fits in our business and we know we're attracting the right customer. I want to max out on it because my vision is clear about where we're headed. So I just want you all to think about that and apply it as you think about where that fits in your business, right? Maybe you're strong in one of these areas, but weak in another. Let's leverage the strengths that you have and let's really put a plan together, right? Right. You can do it right now while we're in this session. Put your plan together on how you're going to really improve the revenue in your business by maximizing opportunities that flow your way. If your vision is clear, you'll see opportunities that the average person will not. You'll hear conversations and know that is an opportunity that fits my business or a goal that I've set because I've been growing and maybe some connections I made because I've been more visible in the market. Leadership has all of the privileges that you think it does. But I'm going to give you this statistic and I'm going to tell you that only 10% of us are born as natural leaders. Only 10% of us. That means the other 90 of us, we got to work at this thing. And this is not necessarily a pay to play opportunity. You've got to put the work in order to put yourself in position. And so what are the challenges to lead? And I think about this often. I'm faced with challenges every single day. I'm faced with challenges when we go into a new market, when we start serving larger clients. We're faced with that. Can we do it? Do we have capacity? What is capacity? How do we figure out if we have enough, right? Do we have enough people? Do we have enough time? Can I afford the payroll of this project until they pay me? What does that look like? Those are all the things that we've got to think about as leaders. But why is becoming a strong leader in my business such a challenge at times? Number one, because I need to assess myself. How many of us really stop and do that dirty work of assessments, right? How many of us have really done that work, right? If you have access to, HR leaders, maybe you've done some assessments. And I will tell you right now, we have access to that in our organization. We'll help you figure out the right assessment for you, for your company, so you can really understand what kind of leader you are. What really drives you? It might not be money. You may be very surprised that what drives you are the results or the impact to your community or how your team grows, elevating your clients' objectives. Those are the things that may drive you over the dollar. And if the dollar is a driver, let's make sure that the dollar is, you can get to that dollar in a very clean and streamlined way. I'm going to show you that when I show you the elements of people, process, and profitability. But course correction is a part of you assessing yourself. What do I need to stop, start, and continue? How do I fix my situation? How do I improve my staff right now? Right? What do I need to stop doing so we can fix what's wrong and then continue so that we can get better results? And then who is helping me see my blind spots, right? I have blinders. I don't care how great your vision is. There are areas around you you just can't see, and you can't see them clearly. Even if you get a bit of a line of sight, it's not clear. You've got to check. You've got to double check. Make sure you've surrounded yourself with people that will tell you the truth, that will share insight with you, and that will tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Kyra, here's an opportunity for you. And I'll tell you, I live what I teach. I live what I teach, walking into opportunities that I've never had before. Sometimes there's a need for a mentor to say, this is a blind spot that you have. You do this great, this great, this great. Let's fix this. And that blind spot is the difference between keeping an opportunity and losing it. And it's okay for us to pivot if you're open, right? So if I've been doing the work on the front end, continuously improving myself and remaining open, being a thought leader, great, gaining that credibility in the market, right? Watching the bottom line, preparing myself. Then by the time I get to a point where I need to address a leadership challenge, I'm open enough to do it. And I can do it on the spot, knowing that I'm protecting our profit at the end of the day. And how do I overcome my ineffective leadership skills that I have? Because we all have them. We all have things that really are just like, I call them gnats. Like they're the things you kind of swat out of the way. And until there are 5 of them, you probably are not going to pay attention to where that gnat is coming from. You're like, oh, they're just some bananas we need to get rid of. No, then you start to figure, where are they coming from? And so now I've got to really pull back and see, okay, I've got a lot of blind spots. We got some opportunities. Let me go back and reset expectations with the people that I'm working with myself first. What is my expectation of me? Do I have a job description or a task that I'm following down to the details that I can hold myself accountable to? You know, leaders, this is an everyday conversation that we should be having with ourselves as we lead organizations, as we lead, you know, in developing the largest part of the market, which is the small and mid-sized market. We hold up the US economy. If we're not doing the internal work without someone, you know, from someone's C-suite tapping us on the shoulder, we're wrong for that. That's our job to do. And I take that very, very personal. And it could be that corporate, you know, rigor that I went through, you know, when I was in corporate America. But I tell you, I own this, and I own correcting my issues. I own that. And I think that has been the thing that's kept me honest and kept the integrity in our business. And I just encourage all of us to think about all the areas that we have opportunity in and really start looking at it and working at it. Sometimes it's as simple as reading a new book. Other times it's a class. Sometimes it's a mentor or a peer that you need to get in your life so that you can understand how to fix those blind spots. And they look like expectations, creating effective communication methods, communicating your vision or your idea clearly. And then are you really leveraging the people that you've brought onto your team, their skills and their talents? You know, those are our responsibilities to do. If you're going to pay them, leverage it. Don't just do it yourself because it's easier. Don't just do it yourself because you waited to the last minute. Don't just do it yourself because you don't have time to talk and share. Implement that operations meeting in your business. This is how you leverage your leadership capacity. This is it. You all, I mean, I'm really giving you like almost an intensive in so many different elements of leadership, but I want to hit it broad as I can so that you can think about where this fits in your world, But if you can leverage your team, right? You're expensing this payroll. Why don't you make sure that you're using the skill sets appropriately? Let's really leverage them. That will help you lead better because now you're communicating clearly. You've set expectations. You're getting more done more quickly and more effectively, more efficiently. And now you can go on to the next thing, which is the impact of leading with your authority. You are at the helm of this organization. You've set the course. You're charting this path. Where's your strategy? That's a core element. It will increase your confidence because you know one thing. I know the plan. I understand the timeline. I know what resources we need. Those are the 3 core elements of your strategy. When you know those things, time, resources, right? The plan, how to do this thing. I'm putting it in flight. Once you understand that, your confidence raises. So those things you don't talk about with other people, those areas of issue or opportunity, or maybe that skill you know you need to learn, we're all guilty. I can only speak from experience. You have a bit more confidence because you've taken the time to shore yourself up so that you can lead the people that are relying on you. They're relying on you to do the work you said you were going to do so they can do the work they committed to you. And then that continues to fuel and feed our economy and our community and our children as central as our home. It feeds our home. If we do the work, our leadership really drives how the economy really flows. So think about that. If I step back and don't do my work and do my self-correction, I'm impacting my team. I'm impacting their livelihood, right? We wear that as a burden. But if we put a strategy in place and we build up that confidence, we can actually disarm it as a burden, lower that threat. It's not a burden. This is the function. So now this is what I plan to do. I planned to do this. I plan to win this way. I plan to drive this way. I plan to get this client. I plan for that larger client. I did the work and figured out what capacity meant and how to build my capacity in my business. So now I have a strategy, a plan, right? Task, time, resources. And now I'm more confident in my business. So I'm a stronger leader even in that. My confidence is exuding. My people are going to respect who I am. That's the challenge of leadership. This is not an easy road, but if you're up for the challenge, I promise you, you will reap the benefits. You will reap the benefits. So here are the priorities. Here they are. People, processes, and your profitability. At the end of the day, the leader will always go first. So the first person we want to make sure you've shored up is you. Then we're going to take care of our people, our team. And then we go external to our customer or our clients. So that we want to understand who and what makes up each one of those categories. So if you've taken care of yourself, starting with that very first slide that I showed, do the personal work, follow that pathway. Every one of those steps will get you to a place where you're really acknowledging the value of your people and you are presenting what they need as a leader so they can execute in excellence. And then from there, your customers are going to know because they're going to experience your people, the culture you've created. They're going to understand they're getting good guidance and leadership and their focus is strong. They're going to see that, your customers. And how do you impress that on your customers? How do you make sure they see that with like flashing lights? Let's get to the processes. Make sure your internal operations is standing up really strong. What does that mean? Make sure you have a strong administrative office. How are you billing them? Your onboarding process from end to end. How's your customer come in? How do they leave? How do they refer someone? How do they come back? Right? Just moments ago, we were prepping for this. I got a text message from one of my largest clients that came in via an Instagram DM from an employee that I had when I was in corporate America that was now working for this other business and said, we need you. I landed one of my very first 6-figure clients through a direct message from a previous employee. While we were here, the board of directors, the director of the board emailed me and said, I need you back. Here are the things I need. Here are the terms. Just that fast. Relationship, understanding the value, internal processes that work. At this point, the appointment's being set. We're going to find out what they need. I understand the value of that engagement. We have processes that made sense. This literally just happened. This is all live, which meant our customer journey for them was successful. What is the customer journey? How does it feel to do business with you? I'm going to say feel because that is an internal thing we need to understand. It feels a way to do business with you. How does it feel? How do you customize that for your client, your customer? Product or service, doesn't matter. How does it feel to do business with you? That's what they're going to experience, the feeling, right? The transaction is in and of itself. It's no big deal. If they feel like doing business with you is of value, you're going to get the repeat. They're going to whip out the debit card. They're going to write the check. They're going to cut the PO because it feels right to do business with you. So let's make sure we've created a customer journey. And then just like we're constantly improving personally, the business, keep it in a state of constant and consistent improvement. That is an essential priority for your business. People, processes, profitability. You can apply this in your business, in your home life, in your relationships, everywhere, in your government, everywhere. It's the people that make it go, the processes that give it actually a path, and the profit is what is called the outcome. That's an outcome from people working inside great processes that make sense. It's like pulling the arm or the lever at a casino. If it's done right, the person's there, the process works, jackpot. That's how it works. And I make it that simple because I don't want us to overcomplicate this. If you're not an operations person, if you don't like working on, on the operations of your business, if you are absolutely committed to just delivering your service because that's what you do well and everything else, it just scares you, or it doesn't feel good. I tell you what, if you do it once and let's get it right, or improve the areas that you have challenged, you won't have to do this whole thing all over again. You don't have to go back and build your whole infrastructure again. You then just continuously improve it. It's hard that first time setting up that CRM, that customer management or relationship management tool software. It's hard sometimes setting up your billing software. At times we got to think about how we staff and onboard people. Oh, I need an entire HR process. Yes, you do. The first time you took the stab at writing your employee handbook, what did that feel like? Right? What are your values? What are your employee policies? Get that internal piece together. And then the last thing is profitability. That's where it comes. Everything leads to the money. But if there are kinks along the way, if you look at this little diagram right here of this process, there are points, milestones, timelines, triggers, things. This is the arrows identify the direction, right? The circles identify points of interest that you want to be concerned about. And that's all about the journey. So there's an internal journey. That's your internal operations. Your customer journey is the one that's happening outside of there. Does your customer journey and your internal operations process, do they match? Can I follow it all the way through? Can I have the same experience? What's happening with the customer? Is it supported by what's happening with the operations? Those are the things we want to understand, leaders. And the reason why I'm driving that as a leadership skill set and function is because no matter what, we're at the helm of these organizations. We've got to think about the biggest picture. And if we give up because our leadership muscle's not as strong, or we don't understand, how to do it at the greatest and most effective rate, we haven't done our due diligence. That's our responsibility. And then finally, getting to the sustainable profit model, right? That's a system. That's your process working well and it being repeated over and over again. That's a sustainable profit model. And obviously making sure that your margins are good, right? Making sure your pricing is right. And then understanding your service and product delivery. That is critical. That is absolutely critical. And then finally, management and reporting. Do we know what the numbers are? Do we understand the money? And if we do, how are we reporting it? Are we sharing it? And at what level are we sharing it with our teams? That is important. And I'm going to pause here because there may be questions. I intentionally left some time here, but I want you all to understand the elements of developing yourself as a leader are inclusive of you first stopping to say, this is what I need to do. And then finally saying, this is how it impacts the business. So I'm excited to have shared this with you today. I'm going to share a contact slide as well for you and invite you to also this reading list. And so with this reading list, I want you to know that these are some of my favorite books. And so these are books that I literally live by. And so I encourage you to get the books. I encourage you to read them and make them a part of your library. We've made the top 2 a part of our business library. So our employees have read it. Our teams read it when we mobilize teams in other organizations. If we have dysfunctional teams, we make them read it as well. They're effective. And I'm wrapping. So here's our contact information. If you have questions, if you want to contact us, if you need an assessment, if it's time for your human resource elements to be reviewed or evaluated, if you need some leadership guidance and coaching, take this information. Contact our office. We are excited to serve you. Incredibly honored to be on this today with Comerica Bank and the Greater Houston Black Chamber, and of course, our City of Houston representative, or being represented here. And I just want to say, as an advocate for all of those platforms, small business leaders, we really do hold the economy in our hands. So I want us to take every minute of our responsibility to the height of seriousness that you can. Let's really, really know that at the end of the day, it's on us. We're doing the tough work. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kyra. Mr. Brandon Q. Jones, how would you rate that presentation?
I mean, I don't have a rating for it because it's off the charts.
Exactly right.
Kyra, that was so good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you all. It's been my honor. Thank you so much.
And so if anyone has any questions, let's address those now. If you have questions for Vice Mayor Pro Tem Castex Tatum or for Kyra, please place them in the chat. We're happy to answer any questions as well. If you have any questions for Brandon concerning Comerica, please feel free to place those questions in the chat also. Everyone, I want you to know that what we received from Kyra is just a taste of what you will receive if you join our cohort through the SOS Supporting Our Success program. Like she said, it is on us. So the Chamber is taking responsibility to make sure that our members get what they need to grow and sustain. And you might, at the end of the day, want to sell your business, but you want to sell something that is valuable and is going to put money back into your pocket after all of the hard, long years of work that you've put in. So please join us on this journey through supporting our success as we strive to help you grow and sustain your business. And so we have a question from Michelle. She says, when it comes to systems, how do we gauge if it's working or not working before making tweaks? Kyra?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to tell you, number one is the first thing you can do is understand why the system is in place. That's the first thing. What is the system supposed to do? And that's the bottom line. What is it supposed to do? How are you going to measure it? Understand what your KPIs are for your key performance indicators. That's what's going to tell you whether you need to make a tweak or whether you're in a good place. So the first thing is understand the reason for the system. Be sure that your team understands it. Put the measurements in place. And if you need help understanding the measurements, let's talk through that. But those are the first two things you can do. Then you start making tweaks, because if you've invested, you want to max out that investment the best way you can.
Thank you, Kyra. The next question we have is regarding the boot camp, whether or not it's part of SOS. The boot camp is a program that is offered by Comerica Bank. We are presenting it as part of our SOS program. So they have partnered with us on this financial literacy training piece, business growth piece, and we are bringing this service to you through our partnership with Comerica Bank. So we're in partnership. Do we have any other questions for our panelists? We got them here. This is the time to ask.
Madam President, I did get a direct question
Okay.
to me, but I think it would be better answered by our Comerica rep. I thought it was a really good comment, so I'm going to get in the chat and read it.
Okay.
The question stemmed around startup businesses, and it seems like banking relationships seem to be one-way street until they start making money. How could Comerica help partnerships for startups when they need to capture the first, second, or third deal?
Yeah, I love this question.
That's a great, that's what I responded back. That's a great question.
I was like, okay, all right. Yeah. So definitely we love to hear this type of feedback, right? And so it happened a lot because I used to be a lender. I used to lend to small businesses, and I definitely understand those beginning stages. And so the first thing we can do is things like this. We can reach out to what we do is we reach out to our community partners, and we put on these types of programs where we will actually present ways to get access to capital, right? And so the second step is, of course, getting access to capital, getting you in front of those individuals who are able to help if traditional banking does not, right? And so that may mean that we get you in front of a CDFI partner, right? Or in front of a small loan fund or a capital fund, right? Where we've made investments on the back end to support that business, who will further support small businesses. But that also looks like taking a hard, deep dive look, and this is actually what we're doing internally at our processes in terms of how we underwrite loans and how we work with small businesses to make sure that we're inclusive, right? To make sure that we're not locking folks out when they're first coming in, making sure that we're taking a hard look at our scorecard to make sure that everybody can kind of come in and the playing field is level. So yes, that's a wonderful question. And so we're working on doing all those things to make sure that small businesses can be supported.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for that that great thorough answer. I think you hit on a lot of things there that are of concern to our businesses, especially the inclusiveness in lending practices. That is a big deal for us, and we're seeing that come out of what's happening with the Black Lives Matter and George Floyd movement. So thank you, Comerica Bank, for being responsive.
Madam President, I want to ask another follow-up question to that.
Sure.
You mentioned the scorecard. I think that it is critically important that as a business owner, we know what that scorecard looks like. How can we, as business owners, access those scorecards as we are building our businesses so that we come in prepared and not do it the other way around?
Yes,
a lot of times, we have a great idea, we have a plan, but we really don't know the financial policies or those scorecards that we will be graded on by a financial institution like Comerica to really start to build capacity.
Definitely. I'm loving Houston. Y'all got good questions.
Look, we need a contact. We need a name, number, and contact of who to call.
I got you. So we actually do have a solution for it. So because I was a lender, I sat on the other side of that desk, and I would see a lot of times where businesses of color would walk in, business owners, and not be prepared. And then you would see like other folks walk in and they would have like everything ready and be like, bam, I know you're going to approve this loan because I know what you need, right? And so that's why doing this session in our boot camps, I love to do this session called the 5 C's of credit, where we kind of help you all small businesses understand the back end underwriting practices. And so what we really look at, DTI structure, loan value ratios, things like that, and the algorithms that we use internally, so you can kind of know, okay, this is where I can kind of hit the mark and be prepared on my side, where when I go to a bank, I can have kind of an intelligent conversation about, how to get access to capital. And so that's actually coming in our 4th session. We have a wonderful local banker there. She's in San Felipe, a really good friend of mine. Her name is Ms. Nikki Pfizer. She'll be presenting that 5 C's of credit conversation, and then kind of walking through our internal loan underwriting practices, as well as kind of just general bank underwriting practices. So people kind of understand what happens on the back end.
Can I join in on that? Because I think part of what we've done as a business development firm, Brandon, is to really create a program to shore up businesses so they're stronger by the time they get to the banking space. So we want to make sure that our small businesses have that are at that growth cusp, have the bankability, already built in by the time they come, and that we have relationships that are strong enough to support it. So I will say this, that's a passion that we share, and we've built programming to help do that. And so this is a high level view of what it looks like to dig into what Resurgence does. And that's why we really want you to stick into a boot camp like this, so you can get those layers. And I'm going to actually pivot that to a question that I see Vanessa has asked, which is, at what point, would you recommend a small business bring a firm like the Kyra company in? And I'll tell you, most of our customers are ready. They're in business. They can't necessarily afford to bring in a COO or HR leader, but they can bring in a consultant that has that line of sight for operations. And so typically they're at about 3 years, give or take, and their dollars are really, where they are financially is less of a concern for us, because by the time they raise their hand and say they want to bring a consultant, they know they're going to need to invest. And so we create that path through strategic planning on saying, well, okay, this is what it's going to cost. So typically our customers are at the cusp of growth. They're approaching that growth peak at the bell curve, and they're ready to take off, but they don't have enough strength, capacity, money, structure, how. They're missing that. And so that's where we bring them in. And so our customers are typically ready. I'll tell you that. And they know that it's going to take some time and some work to get it done. But they also know that organizations like the Chamber, that we're connected to, and our banking colleagues. We've got them built into our system. And so we can have early stage conversations to help them get there. So that's what we know as a small business, a company that we serve ourselves in the market, right? We've created that pathway so we can make it easier, because it's tough. It's a tough road to get to the money. And we want to ease it a little bit. And so as we're asking these really great questions, I just wanted to share that and really answer that question as well.
My boss is on the line, Vanessa T. Reed. She's down in Houston. She says, get to know your banker before you need them. And that is true. Make sure that you come to get to know us. But at the same time, we have to extend the olive branch. We have to come out to events like this. We have to let you know that you're welcome into our banking centers, and you all are. Even if you don't have an account, sit down, come in, chill, talk to us. We just want to engage, right? So come get to know us, please.
Yeah, and I think, Brandon, you answered a question that one of our participants have. They are talking about the need for access to capital, and they have a juice company. So then your best advice is for them to visit one of the branches and speak to someone. Who might that be?
So I will drop the information in the chat. One of my favorite bankers down there is Ms. Nikki Pfizer. She's a wonderful small business banker, and she can get you anything you need.
Madam President,
Yes.
I think this conversation has sparked a great idea. Maybe the Office of Economic Development and the Chamber can sponsor a lending social as we are opening up the world. I think it would be, let's look for a space and let's get a list of small business lenders. Because our business owners need opportunities to meet these lenders prior to needing these lenders. And so if we can create the opportunities for them to do just that, I think we get them headed in the right direction. So I would love to co-sponsor a lending reception or a business owner meet and greet, whatever we call it, but an opportunity for our business owners to actually meet these lenders that can lead them in the right direction with their businesses, and they can be on a first name basis, and they can foster the relationships prior to actually needing to go and make the big ask.
I love that idea. I hear the term "meet the lender" going around in my head right now. See, you all, this is
let's pull the list of lenders together.
Yes.
And let's make something fabulous and a really good networking opportunity. I think we'll have some meaningful connections, and we can really see our businesses flourish.
Absolutely. That's an excellent idea. We'd be happy to work with you on that, Vice Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
These are the kinds of, oh, yes, of course.
You're first on the list.
First on the list.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That is what the Chamber is here for, to bring together all of these great minds and resources to assist in your business. So thank you so much for that. And for Kyra, who was mentioning about getting you ready, the Resurgence program is our cohort. And so you will learn that and more through the SOS program in partnership with Resurgence. So I wanted to let you all know this is how your chamber is working for you. We have time for maybe one more question, and it's from Michelle. Michelle is asking, should you fire an employee if they don't follow the systems in place? Well. I know many an employer who has someone that just simply does not want to follow the system. So how would you address that, Kyra?
I thought you were going to take it. That's too much. I think, I'm not going to say yes immediately, right? You all know that. We're smarter than that. And I'm an HR head. So you make sure you've done your due diligence to train them. Make sure you've done your due diligence to understand their skill set and capacity. So you set good expectations. Test it. Are they meeting the KPIs or not? Does it work? Does your system really work in the first place, right? Know that. And then once you've assessed those things, then I think there's time for you to, you have to take care of your investments and then make a decision to move someone in your business to another role or exit them out of your organization. And small businesses, we don't have a lot of time to play with our resources. And so the tighter you are going in, the easier and the more rapid you'll be able to kind of follow that whole hire slow, fire fast method, which is important so that you don't lag and increase your expenses unnecessarily. So that's what I would say. That's my short answer. If you need something more specific, you can reach out to me and I can give you a little counsel directly.
Thank you so much, Kyra. We appreciate that real time and real talk feedback. So everyone, we're coming to the conclusion of our program today, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and want to thank Vice Mayor Pro Tem Martha Castex Tatum for her time, Mr. Brandon Q. Jones from Comerica Bank, and Ms. Kyra Hardwick from the Kyra Company. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge today. Just want to make a few announcements with regard to the chamber and closing remarks. Next Thursday will be the second class in our boot camp series. It is called Legalizing Your Business. We will feature Miss LaMonica Love, a business attorney here in Houston, so you don't want to miss that. If you enjoyed today, make sure that you spread the word. We're all here to help you. Everyone you see on this screen, we're here to help you, and this information is free of charge. It is your membership that allows us to bring you this kind of programming. So if you're not a member, please consider joining today. We need you on our team and we want to help you. Another day to keep in mind, the Pinnacle Awards coming up October 23rd. It's going to be a virtual event. We want you to apply. The Pinnacle Award is one of the highest honors African-American owned businesses earn here in the city. And it lets the world know that you're here, you're open for business, and you do great work and provide great products and services. It's our way of getting you out into the public. So make sure you look for applications that will be opening soon. So again, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you to our panelists. We look forward to seeing everyone next Thursday. And please look out for this Meet the Lender event. It is not going to disappoint. It is not going to disappoint. I'm Carol Guest, your interim president. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.